Welcome back to the deep dive. Looking at the intelligence picture you've compiled, we are zeroing in tonight on West Africa.
Yes, specifically the Sahel region. The security situation there, particularly in Mali and spilling into Nigeria, it's deteriorated very quickly these past couple of weeks.
It really has. It's a complex map, fast-moving.
Indeed. And our goal here is to take all these overlapping events, these complex facts, and give you the concise, crucial takeaways.
Precisely. And we should mention, this deep dive is possible thanks to our sponsor, ProWave AI.
And the analysis itself, the synthesis of global news we're about to unpack, that comes from Stylo News. That's the AI-powered news application designed to cut through all this information overload.
Okay, so let's dive straight in. Mali seems like the critical starting point.
It is, because what's happening there, it isn't just, typical insurgency. It's actually a strategic play by militants to grab the levers of governance.
That's the key insight, isn't it? Since early September, we've seen this severe fuel blockade. It's imposed by the al-Qaeda affiliate, Jama'at Nusrat al-Islam wal Muslimin, JNIM for short.
Right.
We hear the term economic warfare thrown around. What does that actually look like on the ground in Mali?
It looks like paralysis. Complete paralysis. The blockade, it's a very deliberate tactic. The aim is to undermine the legitimacy of the Malian military junta, the one led by Colonel Assimi Goïta.
And the impact?
Oh, it's tangible and immediate. Our sources show that on October 27th, the government actually had to suspend all classes. Nationwide, schools, universities, everything shut down until November 10th.
Just because people couldn't get fuel to commute.
Exactly. Staff mobility issues. But it goes way beyond the classroom.
I imagine it hits the whole economy.
Absolutely. In Bamako, the capital, you're seeing huge queues for fuel, transport costs soaring, prices for basic goods. They're climbing fast.
And industry.
Yeah.
Things like mining.
Also affected. Mining, cement production. Anything reliant on transport and fuel is feeling the squeeze. It's starting to seize up.
Now, the security assessment you mentioned, this is where it gets quite alarming.
It does. Some sources are suggesting Bamako is, for all intents and purposes, encircled by JNIM.
Encircled. That raises fears of a complete militant takeover.
And if that happened, well, that would be the first time in recent history we've seen a state fall under the direct, confirmed control of an al-Qaeda affiliate. A sobering thought.
If they are encircled, what's the junta, Colonel Goïta's government, actually doing? They came to power claiming they were needed for security.
Well, they're defending their rule, naturally, saying it's necessary. They're trying to prioritize fuel for emergency services, ambulances, police.
But are they breaking the blockade? Escorting convoys?
They're trying, but reports indicate convoys are still being attacked. They seem heavily reliant on their Russian military partners, but, well, it doesn't seem to be enough if the capital's effectively cut off.
So what's the cost of that failure? It seems like JNIM isn't just fighting, they're building something else.
That's a critical point. While the junta looks for external help, JNIM is working to establish political influence. Yes, they disrupt the state, block fuel, but they also move into these conflict zones, these marginalized areas, and try to provide basic social services.
So they're not just insurgents, they're trying to be an alternative government.
In effect, yes. They're attempting to replace the state, not just fight its army.
And the international community, they're noticing this shift, presumably.
Clearly. We've seen a wave of urgent evacuation advisories. The US, Germany, the UK, Australia, Japan, all telling their citizens to leave, citing the escalating insecurity, the dangers of road travel.
That's a massive vote of no confidence in the Malian state's ability to provide security. Right. A real signal of failure.
It is. And that signal, that instability, it hasn't respected Mali's borders. Which brings us neatly, if unfortunately, to Nigeria.
The spillover effect.
Dramatically so. The most direct sign was on October 30th. JNIM claimed its first confirmed attack inside Nigeria in Kwara State. They ambushed and killed a Nigerian soldier.
That's deeply worrying. Nigeria's already dealing with Boko Haram, with ISWAP.
Exactly. Now they potentially have a new aggressive al-Qaeda front opening up. It complicates an already incredibly complex insurgency landscape.
In this attack, it drew immediate international attention, didn't it? Particularly from the U.S.
Intense scrutiny. Our sources detail President Trump's public statements. He threatened potential U.S. military intervention, threatened cutting aid to Nigeria.
On what grounds?
The stated reason was if the Nigerian government failed to halt what was termed the slaughter of Christians. The U.S. position was framed very much as a decisive response needed to protect religious minorities.
That's a very direct and politically charged demand. How did Nigeria respond?
They pushed back hard. Foreign Minister Tugger flatly denied claims of religious persecution. He strongly affirmed Nigeria's constitutional commitment to religious freedom for everyone.
And the intervention threat.
He issued a stark warning against any foreign intervention, argued it would just destabilize the whole nation, make things worse. And interestingly, sources also indicate Nigerian officials resisted alleged U.S. pressure to establish an American military base on their soil.
So a fundamental disagreement there on the right course of action. The U.S. threatening intervention, Nigeria resisting.
Completely.
If foreign intervention is off the table from Nigeria's perspective, what are the alternatives being discussed? What do regional experts suggest?
The sources really emphasize the need for internal solutions, specifically building political consensus among Nigeria's own elite to effectively combat the insurgency.
And tactically.
There's a strong push towards soft power approaches, things like promoting interfaith dialogue, community engagement, basically focusing on the root causes rather than relying solely on military force, which, let's face it, has enough of the problem so far.
It seems these immediate security crises are also fueling bigger geopolitical shifts in the region.
Absolutely. We're witnessing a definite drawdown of Western influence. It's undeniable.
And the data backs that up.
Yes. Look at Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. They collectively formalized their withdrawal from the International Criminal Court, the ICC.
Why? What was their reasoning?
They cited perceived bias, called it neocolonialism, but whatever the stated reason, it signals a clear turn.
A turn towards what? More regional autonomy?
Towards asserting regional sovereignty, yes.
Yeah.
Developing their own autonomous defense strategies, perhaps also avoiding external legal scrutiny.
Right.
But critically, it creates a vacuum.
A security vacuum.
Precisely. And we see other global powers stepping into that void.
The Russia-China factor you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. Russia is expanding its influence through strategic partnerships, providing mercenaries, resources to the ruling juntas. Meanwhile, China is focusing more on deep economic investments. They often benefit from the stability gaps left when Western forces, like the French, pull out.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's talk about the human side of the sentiment. What are people actually saying online?
We looked at social media sentiment, specifically on X, related to major news outlets covering these events. BBC, Reuters, Al Jazeera, and so on.
In the picture.
It's stark, overwhelmingly negative. We're talking average negative sentiment in the range of 70 to 80% across all the main events we've discussed.
Wow, 70 to 80% negative. That's not just disagreement. That's
fear, genuine fear. It's frustration with what people see as ineffective responses, both from their own governments and internationally. It's outrage over civilian suffering. You see these urgent human cries for help, for aid, being broadcast globally.
And in that climate of fear and frustration, the regional leaders, they haven't been idle. They've taken a significant step.
Yes. A major course of action has been the formalization of the Alliance of Sahel States, the AES. This brings together Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger in a security pact.
What's the goal of the AES?
It's ambitious. They aim to establish a unified military force, about 5,000 to 6,000 troops initially, crucially with integrated command and shared intelligence capabilities.
So the strategy is?
The strategy is clear. Tackle the escalating terrorism problem themselves. Assert regional sovereignty. Replace that reliance on foreign troops, which, as we've discussed, have often been seen as ineffective or even intrusive by populations there.
That's a complete strategic realignment for those countries, a focus on autonomous defense.
It really is. But the risks, the immediate dangers, they remain incredibly high.
Which the UK travel advisory seems to underscore.
Exactly. The UK recently advised against all travel to 21 different states in Nigeria. 21. Citing severe risks from kidnappings, terrorism, Boko Haram, ISWAP, and just general violent crime.
That advisory really highlights how widespread and severe the insecurity is, the very thing this new AES force is trying to contain.
Its rapid operationalization and effectiveness are absolutely vital for regional stability right now, a huge task ahead for them.
So let's try and pull this together. Based on all this data, what are the key things you, the listener, should be watching for in the near term?
Okay, first, keep an eye on Mali. The critical factor is that JNIM fuel blockade around Bamako. Will it continue, escalate? Will the government manage to stabilize supply lines, especially with schools supposed to be reopening? That's a key indicator.
Right. And in Nigeria?
Watch the Nigerian military's planned counterterrorism operations. Their success or failure in stopping further JNIM expansion in Kwara and those border regions is crucial for stability in the North and Middle Belt.
regionally.
The AES unified force, how quickly can it actually deploy? How effective will it be on the ground? That's probably the single biggest determinant of whether this regional containment strategy can work.
And then there's the international dimension.
Two things there. One, continued evacuations of foreign nationals. That's always a barometer of the immediate danger level.
And the second.
The political maneuvering around potential intervention, particularly from the U.S. side regarding Nigeria. We know the Department of Defense has drafted various contingency plans. They range from just support missions all the way to potential direct strikes.
But that depends entirely on political decisions.
Entirely. It's contingent on choices being made right now in Washington and Abuja, analyzing all these competing interests, the public fear, the military plans. It's only possible to do this quickly because of the tools we use.
Absolutely. That whole stack of information, all those complex details we just unpacked for you, that synthesis was powered by Stylo News.
Right. We spent the time diving deep into these dense geopolitical events so you don't have to sift through hundreds of conflicting reports yourself.
Stylo News, for those who don't know, it's an application for your phone or computer. It lets you download and customize your own personal intelligence style briefs instantly.
It works by pulling data from literally hundreds of traditional news sources, plus X, formerly Twitter, and it processes information in over 20 languages.
And it's not just basic keyword searching. It uses advanced AI things like vector search and retrieval augmented generation, or RG.
Which basically means the AI reads everything relevant, understands the context, and then generates a clear, concise summary of exactly what you need to know, complete with source citations so you can check yourself.
The idea is to get you multi-dimensional, timely information, less than 60 seconds from question to insight.
So whether you're tracking emerging flashpoints like the Sahel or trying to understand complex economic shifts, Stylo is designed to cut through the noise and give you actionable intelligence.
We genuinely want you to be as well-informed as we aim to be. So, subscribe to Stylo News. Get that AI-powered news on demand.
You can find out more at www.stylonews.com. That's STYLOnews.com.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into West Africa's security situation. It's definitely a challenging picture, but so important to keep track of. We really appreciate you tuning in.
And hey, if there's another global flashpoint or a complex issue you'd like us to tackle in a future deep dive, please let us know.
Yes, definitely. And be sure to follow Stylo News on your favorite social media platform for the latest insights as they happen.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.